Hey, what's up everybody? Caleb Pickering here, just to talk a little bit about fundamental tambourine playing and how I view things. So first up, if you remember back to like high school chemistry, you probably had those Punnett squares, the 2x2 that you would use to tell genetics and things. I kind of view tambourine playing like a Punnett square, those 4 squares. So I group them all as things that are louder or softer and things that are slower or faster. They're going to be paired like that. So for me, if something is louder and slower, and that is louder, slower, not necessarily loud or slow, but in those realms, that's how we do just our normal tambourine playing. And for me, I keep it really simple with younger students. I just say, you got your pond, you make your duck, duck seat at the edge of the pond. And then it all just comes from that nice snare drum stroke, just like we're playing ride cymbal, or we're playing more of a molar snare drum idea, same kind of technique of that nice fluid motion. The second one is things that are louder and faster. Now this is the one that I think we've all probably seen a lot in playing. It's the knee fist technique, right? Where we have a chair that we put our knee up on. I'm sitting down today, so obviously I don't have a chair with me except the one I'm sitting on. But you have your knee and your fist, so if things are louder and faster, I go between the two, right? Sometimes pieces like A Cool Gadget by Casey Cangelosi and my piece Shred, you have some sections where you have to play that knee fist technique, but you don't have time to turn the tambourine over, so it's implied that you play between the top head and put the rim on your knee. The third one is when we're playing things that are slower and softer. So for that, for me, it's no different than a normal stroke. The only thing we're going to do different is instead of coming from here, we're just going to let our wrist rest on the head. Just like that. It's almost like somebody super glued the base of our wrist to the head as a little muffler. And then we use as many fingers as we need. If we need a fuller sound, we'll use more. If we need a little bit of a thinner sound, we can use less. Just like that. And then finally, last but not least, is when you have to play things that are faster and softer. So in Cangelosi's piece, A Cool Gadget, you have to play for an extended period in the back half, pretty softly and at a pretty fast tempo. So you put it on your leg, put it up on your abs just a little bit, so it has a downward angle to create that 45 that we normally have when we're playing. Rest both hands on it. You just play it just like that. Now as far as these extended techniques for my piece Shred, we'll go into them a little bit. I'm using the word extended a little loosely because a lot of these are things we already do in our tambourine playing. I'm just going to kind of define them a little bit and just show a couple of things that I like to do that I've learned in my playing in my career that have helped me out as well. So the first one I'm going to talk about is using what I call a heavier, more of a tenuto piano stroke. And it's where I want the full jingles of the tambourine to be ringing, so I get all of them going at the same time. Like right now. The ones over here, they're just not quite ringing as much as I would like. So in this piece, Shred is with tambourine, double kick, and tape. The tape playback can be really loud, so in these quiet sections where I still need to cut through, especially to play the meter, and it's literally just playing tambourine strokes with kind of an open spider hand, where you just have it across the head. And it just gets you a little bit more fuller of a sound, if you will. And it just helps me cut through my tape parts a little bit better. The second one I'm going to talk about, and this is definitely not an extended technique, we all use this all the time, is the finger roll, the thumb roll, the friction roll, whatever you like to call it. They're all kind of semantics. It's kind of like pushing a lawnmower, right? Or a snowplow, if you've ever shoveled snow or anything like that. If you stand to the side of that lawnmower or snowplow and try to push it, it's really hard. You have to keep your strength and your body weight behind that plow, and no matter where it turns, you have to stay behind it. So something I notice with younger players a lot of the times is when they're going for a thumb roll or a finger roll, as they go around the head, they'll start turning their arm, and now the power and the weight of their arm's not behind that finger to give it friction to push it. It's like dragging from the side, like pushing that lawnmower from the side. It just doesn't work. It doesn't get you that nice finger thumb roll that we want to hear. So for me, when I'm doing any sort of finger roll on tambourine, especially that middle finger, for me, that first knuckle, that first joint of your middle finger, I like to take my thumb and I'll put it right there just to brace that joint. Because again, if you're pushing something with friction and suddenly it gets a kink in it, and now you're pushing with an angle, it's just going to keep the angle flexing more and you're going to lose that direction of friction. So we want to have a real sturdy surface that can skip across the head. So for me, I take my middle finger, take my thumb, and I just brace that first knuckle. So it makes a nice little flat base between the tip of my middle finger and the start of my thumb, and that just lets me do my middle finger roll just a little cleaner and a little more consistent. So sometimes I want to use these figures. For one, the thumb roll, like I said, was a little bit chunkier for me. So there's a section in shred where I have a lot of these kind of chug rhythms in guitar, just grr, 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 grr. And I use that thumb roll to get a nice thick. And then, like I was saying, I use that middle finger when I need a little bit more finesse or maybe a little bit less volume. I need to get onto the head a little bit quicker to play release notes. So one thing I use a ton in this piece shred is what I call the assisted shake roll. So for me, it's kind of like if you had a little too much coffee and your hands are just a little jittery, or if you were just tapping on the side of your leg really quick. It's that same kind of idea, but if I just put it against the head, if I was going to do the same thing, but like the tips of my fingers were super glued to the head so they couldn't come off, and then I'm just moving it like that, I create a little bit of resistance in the left hand so I have something to push against, like a spring, just like a balanced action timpani pedal. It just helps me get my shake roll going a lot smoother. And in this piece, there's a lot of times where I don't have time to do a true like hit, start the shake, release the shake. There's just too many notes before and after the roll that I can't quite get in there. So for me to assist my playing, I'll do that assisted shake roll because I have these short little bursts of roll, and that helps me get it going quicker. So what's really cool is in this piece there is a legit like heavy metal breakdown in the middle of it, and I use that assisted shake roll to do my crescendo, same way I do in orchestras or bands. I'll start real low just like we do, but I'll use that assisted motion to get the jingles going from niente and then just coming out of it, so it's not just a start but a sneak in. And then I can just keep shaking throughout that breakdown. And in this piece, I do end up playing that motion, that suspended roll, for quite a long time while I'm playing all the breakdown rhythms and my double bass and my feet. So in my tune shred, there is a lot of shake rolls, and it's 5.5 minutes, and not a long time, but it's a tiring piece, especially for that left hand holding the tambourine, holding the frame, doing the shakes, all that. You know, I just get tired after time. But using that assisted shake roll, it just really helps me just take some of that tension out of my left hand and split the workload a little bit with my left and my right. So those are a couple of techniques that I use in shred. It's a really fun piece. I invite you to check it out. It's one of my favorite ones to play live. I just love heavy metal music. I love concert percussion, and this piece was the marriage of those two parts of my life into one